Mic check 1 2 1 2. In the place to be. No, I can't take that, right? Tall boy, how you living, brother?
Man, it's the lab. St. Patty's Day. I got my green somewhere. Let's see. There you go.
Yeah, hope you got some
There you go.
green. I
Yeah, I
don't
got
have
green.
any green on, so I know I'm gonna get pinched by someone. But yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Get your corned beef and cabbage and all that. Drink a little Irish whiskey. I'm drinking grapefruit vodka right now. It's been a long day, so your boy started about an hour ago, but that's how we gonna start off the show.
Yeah, I'm not switching, and unfortunately, they don't. Unfortunately, they don't have anything green,
Oh my
shall we say?
goodness!
So it was grape or berry or tropical.
I
So
swear, I
I'm
swear, we need to talk to Minute Maid, man. We got to get some type of representation up in here. So, Daniel Harper, we see you, man. I like that. Oh, snap the lab. I might put that on our T-shirts or something. We see you, brother. We see you, ladies and
no, no,
gentlemen.
no, no. It's Damian Harper, Damian
Oh,
Harper,
what did I say?
Damon.
I must have seen that. That's that the grapefruit schnapps kicking in right there. But we got. Hold on. Priscilla Watley's in the building. Show some respect. Got
And
y'all.
she's watching on Facebook. Believe it or not, she's not even watching on YouTube like she normally do.
No, she came to you on YouTube. Looks like here this comment. So either way, we got some some winners in the building thus far, and we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. Yeah, look,
Oh,
see,
okay.
green apple lemonade. Damien, we don't know what he's doing, but you know what? He's consistent, and on Brandon. Forget tall boy. We gonna put him on the milk cartons for for Minute Maid.
I love it. I love
Yes,
it.
yes, sir. A lot of stuff going on, right? In the consumer technology world, that's what we talk about here on the lab. Trying to break down some of the complexities so everyday folks can understand what's going on, how these big tech companies are trying to get your dollars, trying to get your data. That's a huge thing. And let's jump right into it, man. We got a handful of topics today that we wanted to get into, and then we were going to start with Dropbox, right?
Right. So for the ones that are not familiar, I think you got the article. Don't forget to put the 8 minute timer on the clock.
Oh yeah, we got to
If
put the time on the clock.
if we forget, please, if we forget to put the if we forget to put the 8 minutes up, please remind us in the comments so we can get it in there. Because we're trying to make this time start right. So go ahead and restart it because I've wasted 15 seconds. So we're gonna start it again. Put
You
eight
wait.
minutes on the clock.
There you go.
All
Go.
right, here we go. So Dropbox, for the ones that are not familiar, a lot of people use LastPass for their security manager. To where if you forget your password, you can log into LastPass and then you can turn around and get you can use that you can put in that password and then it'll give you the passwords to whatever that password that you may have forgot, whether it's a car dealership to a social media account to just anything that you maybe a government website you
Yeah.
log into that one site. But LastPass was the most popular site, shall we say, and unfortunately they're as of yesterday, March 16th, they shut down their free tier version where you can't use it on their phones or your tablet. You couldn't use it on both platforms. You had to make a choice, and I think you can make up to three choices.
Yeah.
So Dropbox is saying, hey, if you have under 50 passwords or less, you can use our service for free, and we're not gonna, hold you accountable for, saying you want to use it on your uh, cell phone or if you want to use it on your computer. So that's pretty cool. Um, Question is, do you have 50 passwords? I mean,
That's a whole lot. No, reading this article, it says that it thinks honestly that the majority of folks would have more than 50 passwords, and then only our seniors would have a smaller number. Your Facebook, your email, your bank accounts. But good Lord, how many passwords do you have? How many accounts I mean, yeah, I can understand maybe all of the stores that you shop at. Yeah, you got passwords for that. You got, again, your banking, your email. But 50 really is a lot of pass. And I use LastPass. So this is hitting me directly as well. So I got to figure out a whole nother scenario to go with. But I don't know, right? I don't have more than 50 passwords because I unfortunately recycle some of the passwords, which I probably shouldn't tell. Don't do as I say and not as I do, folks.
No, but I mean, when you think about it, think about all the stores that you shop at, whether it's Macy's, Best
Hmm.
Buy, maybe even Restream that we're using right now to be able
Hmm.
to multi-stream out. Um, StreamYard, you have well, I had XSplit, now I'm using vMix, which you don't need it anymore. But then you got to think about your banking. How many banks do you, or credit cards do you
Hmm.
have? What about your car insurance? What about the rental car services? After a while, that 50 starts to add up. Um, Now, I think part of the article was saying that, hey, you can turn around and go with their Plus account or their professional account at
Hmm.
11.99 a month or 19.99 a month if you go over that 50. Now, once again, we keep talking about subscriptions. And I think that was one of the things as we closed out 2020 was saying, how do we limit these subscriptions? And it seems like there's no one specific service that says, "Hey, here's just one flat fee, and you have it as a lifer." This is a way for the companies to stay in business, and they know that, hey, after 50, Dropbox is saying, "Hey, you can pay 11.99 if you need more than 50." But maybe you just use those 50 as your main 50, and then you just may have to write them down in your phone or write them down the old
don't
school way.
don't write them on your phone, and don't put them on loose leaf paper in your wallet, nothing like that. And again, don't do like I'm doing, reusing passwords. I mean, that's what they're going at. Again, folks that actually have 64-bit long, highly encrypted passwords. That's the way to go. And if you got a whole bunch of them, yeah, Dropbox is now offering the service. Unless you want to pay for LastPass. Again, LastPass is fantastic, and 1Password is out there as well that does the same type of thing for aggregation of all this information for you. So there's products and services out there, and they make sense because again we do so much online e-commerce now, and there's so much true look there's so much fraud, there's so many phishing schemes out there, there's so many ways that bad people are trying to get into our accounts and our information. So the more secure your password, the better. If you can get a centralized password management system like a LastPass, 1Password, or now with Dropbox's feature,
But you even
that
have Norton. I mean,
yeah,
Norton even
Norton, yep, old school
has a
Norton.
password manager. Yeah, they have a password manager. Now, I was reading here on this LastPass article. They were basically saying that their LastPass premium starts at $3 a month, while a family subscription costs $4 and
Hmm.
includes licenses for up to 6 people. Um, it has over 20 million users around the world, and doesn't know how many of those users use the free tier on LastPass. So in Dropbox, I mean, it's like, hey, if you still want to stay with the free tier plan, that's great. So I mean, that's just something that you have to think about.
It is, timely, relevant news of the day, folks. Look at that. We got 2.5 minutes. We can still ad lib for a minute, but where are your passwords at, brother? Let me put you out there on Front Street. Where your passwords at?
Actually, I just started using Norton,
Okay.
um, and I forgot what their password manager called. But every time I log into a website, it'll say, "Do you want to add this to a new site?" And then, I mean, "Do you want to add this to your 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 chamber or whatever they call it,
Hmm.
your lockbox or whatever?" And then you just sign in, and once you sign in, it automatically drops you in there, and
Okay.
you're good to go.
All right.
So, and then also it's on my phone where I go into my settings. For the ones who do not know, you can go into Google Chrome, go into settings, passwords, and do your unlock code. And then you can get your password because I have a lot of passwords that you may go to Macy's.com once every 6 months or something like that, or go to uh, the Secretary of State once a year. I'm not going to remember that password. And then what if it's the one that has the special characters? I'm not gonna remember that. I just created something. So, yeah, I don't know, man.
There you go. Well, at least you're keeping your data secure, man. That's all
Yeah,
that
for
matters.
sure.
So, right? I
Yeah.
mean, don't take it for granted that again that there are, unfortunately, there are bad people out there, and they're trying to get your information, and do what you can to stay secure. So um, I like that. We were right on time too, right? We had a little extra time to ad lib a little bit Oh, now which you logged into vMix. I see you changing your angle a little bit.
No, I'm just
Oh,
moving the
you
camera.
controlling things behind the scene. You
No,
know,
no, 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 no.
don't mess up the vibe here. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm sorry.
I know. Don't get to touching buttons, and next thing you know, the whole stream goes offline. See, we got no issues. Priscilla's happy. Damien's happy. Dad's happy. The other folks.
Paul Weber's watching all the way from London.
Shouts out to Paul Weber.
From the UK. Yeah,
Okay.
we got to get him on one of the shows one day and get him to talk tech with us.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little while because we're gonna get him on verbose perspectives first, right? We trying to get some time lined up for this man because he's all the way across the pond. Yes, he's a popular guy. He's a popular guy.
And those UKers. I don't know what they call those British people. They have that accent and it sells very well.
Sounds good when he talks, right? Sounds good.
Right.
All right.
All right. So let me got here. Tinder.
Tinder.
Tinder. Yeah. Do you use? Well, you're.
Watch yourself now. Hold on. I've been off the block for 20 years, brother. 20 years. I know nothing about swiping left or swiping right. I can't help you with that, man.
Okay, so
I know about it because it's in my industry as technology, but yeah, I haven't been on the platform. It better not be on my phone. Boy, don't look. Let me tell you something. Don't start nothing.
I mean, this might be good. And I'm
family
just saying,
show. No, she doesn't have it on her phone, on her device.
I mean, I don't know if she's dating, but I mean, she's over 18. So I'm just saying this because now Tinder will soon let you run a background check on a potential date. So now this could be a little bit more safety, and give dad a peace of mind.
Well, that got some things in the house too that just in case. Well, again, we're not gonna get into that. I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead, brother. I wish somebody would roll up in here. No.
So Tinder and other match group owned apps are going to let their users run background checks on possible dates.
Yeah.
Basically, they're partnering with a company called Garbo, a nonprofit that looks to allow people to run background checks with only their first name and phone number or full name. The investment of which Match didn't disclose the amount will help make the group's tech available to Match's users,
Mm-hmm.
starting with the company's most popular app, Tinder. So this means Tinder users will be able to vet their dates with details like their arrest records or history of violence. Um, the that could drastically affect who finds success on the app and who doesn't. The company Garbo says it collects public records and reports of violence or abuse, including arrests, conviction, restraining orders, harassment, and other violent crimes. And its website says it accepts manually submitted police reports, orders of protection, restraining orders, and other legal documents that report abuse, harassment, or other crimes. Now, one of the cool things that I heard about it is it will not publicize, and I don't know if it's cool or bad, but it says it will not publicize drug possession charges in order to take an active stance towards equity. Uh, so basically, they say African Americans are arrested for drug charges compared to are arrested more than Caucasian. So they didn't want to use that as something.
It's kind of crazy that they got to spell that out, though, right? In the in the terms of service, but yeah.
Basically, the background checks on Tinder won't be free, but they're working with Garbo to figure out how to price them so they're accessible to most users. It's unclear whether it will be an a la carte feature or one tied to the brand subscription tiers. They will begin testing out capabilities for Garbo on Tinder in the coming months, and Garbo is integrated into Tinder and other match groups like OkCupid, Hinge, Match, and their other tiered products that they have.
Yeah. Look, I think this is a great thing, right? I'm all about safety, right? And again, when in this new era, in this new world where you got to go out and we're on our technology all the time, and that's just the way that a lot of folks are probably meeting a significant other, right? A lot of times you'll meet someone at work, you'll meet someone at church, you meet someone at the club or whatever. But now technology kind of rules our world. So we've got apps like this that have come up, and I think they do more good than bad. And the fact that now there's some utilities in place that focus on security to make sure that, hey, I'm not going and meeting someone who should be locked up for domestic violence, for some certain type of crime. I'm going to meet you for coffee, and here you got 4 or 5 warrants on you, and you on your second of your third strike. That may be someone that you don't want to go out and have that have that drink with. So these types of things are good. I agree with the fact that it's not a free offering as well. I really am passionate about organizations and software companies charging for their products. If it provides value to you, then those types of things should be a paid for service. You can't get everything free. So if you want a real service, if you want something that, again, that brings you positive value, then it's worth paying. There's always, obviously, there's a number behind or over to where you won't pay for it, where it's cost prohibitive. But something like this, your security, your safety, I even like what Strava is doing. So some fitness apps where they have a beacon, right? You're going out, and I go out and ride my bike. I can turn on the beacon, and I have my designated emergency contacts, and they can track me as I go out on the road. If I was to fall over and crash on my bike, they get an automatic text message or page, whatever the case may be. So hopefully something like that can actually be implemented into this as well, right? Kind of like a 911 to your emergency contact. If the data's going bad, you've already gone through the background check. Now you're out on the date with someone. It's going bad. You sneak off to the bathroom. Boom, you've got a means of hitting emergency 911, and someone swoops in to help you out. Those are the kinds of things that we got to think about those consciously now, and I think they make sense. So yeah, I'm loving the fact that this is actually something that's available now.
Yeah, I think you froze up for about 5 to 10 seconds, but
I probably wouldn't say nothing then. I'm probably just jabbering again, like I'm always doing. Doing the jazz hands like I do all days.
Right. No, I mean, I think the question is how many people would probably pay for this, if that makes sense. I mean, I do think that there is a customer base for this, which is going to probably be more women that will pay for this service. I don't think men. I think men are like, hey, I can defend myself. I don't think there's too many abusive women that are out there that saying I'm just going on dates beating on men. I don't think that that's what the case is. But I mean, I just think that how many people would be willing to pay for it?
I'm thinking that it's going to be a significant amount. I'm thinking that this is going to be a good revenue stream, as again a comfort means for folks that utilize the application and utilize the platform. So
hold on, and I say this because if Match.com, I could see them doing it because you already know what Match is all about. But now you're saying Tinder, remember, it's swipe right if you like, swipe left if you don't like. So I just think the way it's like Christian Mingle, you would pay for it on Christian Mingle, because of the way they sell their services, shall we say.
Okay.
Whereas with Tinder, I'm just throwing it out there. I may be totally wrong on this. I'm just saying the way Tinder is almost like an Instagram. Do you like it? Do you like me? Do you not? Remember back in the day, you had the little piece of paper.
The piece of paper that you fold up.
Right.
We old school, like y'all. Y'all don't know about this. Yeah, y'all don't know about this.
Right. So, right now I'm not liking you because I don't see a timer up. But I mean,
oh my God.
But no, it's too late now. It is what it is. But I mean, but for the most part, it's like, look at the way the model was set up for Tinder versus a Match or versus a Christian Mingle, which is not one of their partners, or some of their other companies. I'm trying to find out. OK Cupid, excuse me, and Hinge. I mean, just the way their business model was set up, I think those companies would pay. I mean, those customers there would pay, but with the way Tinder is set up, you're swiping right, you're swiping left. Do I like you? I mean, we got to remember, Tinder is really more of a hookup type app. It's not like I'm trying to really find love.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. And that's the reason why I think some type of safety precautionary mechanism kind of makes sense, right? Again, you're rolling off to the coffee shop or to the local bar or something to meet someone that you swiped whichever way, and it starts going south. We gave you the information because you did the background check, but then also I think another added layer of security would be to, again, to have that kind of that emergency get me out of trouble button to push
So
kind of thing.
here's my question. They
Yeah.
said that you can type in their full name, their their name, I think maybe first, and then they said you can go by phone number. My thing is, how are you gonna pull a record from their phone number?
Hey, bro, I can pull a lot of information off of some sites. I'm a pretty good sleuth, and I know bad people know how to do it even better than I do. I do it for whenever legitimate reasons. So you can pull a lot. You have to pay for it, right? So again, if you were inherently a bad person and trying to do something that you shouldn't be doing, if I knew your phone number, if I knew what city you lived in, I could literally find darn near every public record about you. Everything. I could find out anytime you were arrested. I could find out your current previous addresses. I can find out where you live. Obviously, all of your public social networks as well. So all that stuff, as you and I know, never goes away if you post something. If you're living in this digital era and you start engaging on social networks, all of that stuff just starts matriculating out, and it's pretty easy to gain access to it if you start looking. If all I need is a snippet of information on you, and again, get that information in the wrong type of people, the wrong person, there comes the phishing schemes, there comes the hacks, there come the spam calls. So it's out there, and I think at the core this is a good thing. At the core and at the rationale of what Tinder is trying to do, and I think it's a good thing. But I agree with you what you were saying though. Yeah, there's different types of sites, right? So the match, the Christian Mingle versus the
Okay, Cupid.
Tinder, OK Cupid. Yeah, they got a different demographic for sure, right? It's so there you go. I've never
Yeah.
talked this much about Tinder in all my life.
You've been married for a long time. I
That's right.
think Tinder came out after you were married, so you better not be talking about Tinder,
Uh,
or the missus is gonna be on you.
yeah, she probably come downstairs in a minute and be like, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Right, right, right,
What
right.
had
So,
happened
no,
was,
I think it's good. The question is, will people be willing to pay for it under that platform? It's almost kinda like you trying to make people pay for, liking someone's post, shall we say, on Instagram.
yeah.
Whereas if you create a platform and say, "This is how it's supposed to be going into it. If you like this, you need to pay a penny or you need to pay a quarter to like it if you created a platform for this." But if you go into Instagram right now and you say if you wanna like something, I think people would be a little bit more reserved on their likes or their hearts, shall we say,
Hmm. Hmm.
if the model has already been out to say, "Hey, I'm swiping right, I'm swiping left," and it goes from there.
There you go. Folks, chime in if you got questions or concerns or an opinion. Obviously, this is a community-driven event and show. We're giving our perspective, and that's been at the core of what the lab is. Again, we're completely independent, but we love to share dual opinions and hash it out back and forth, really to spur conversation. So if you've used these applications or these platforms, put it in the comments and tell us your thoughts, especially about these types of new background checks that Tinder is providing. So
I just figured it was quite interesting to hear about the safety, the background checks,
yeah.
for a dating app, shall we say. That's something that you normally just don't hear. I mean, it's kind of like I said, your daughter, you want anybody that goes out on a date to be safe and it's amicable, or if it doesn't work out, everybody respects everybody's terms,
Yeah.
or respects everybody's wishes. But I think that at the end of the day, because of COVID, more people are willing to do online dating.
Hmm.
They're willing, or I mean, for us, this is things that we were already doing, or at least I was doing before I got into a solid relationship. But it was like I was on different apps trying to just meet somebody I thought was, but I always knew that Tinder was a hookup app. So if you're trying to have a hookup, you go to Tinder. Now, for you to tell me I need to pay for a background check, I mean, I don't think that that's one of those things that's taught, shall we say?
No,
That's
I
just
agree.
my approach.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So go ahead. Next topic. You can put up the timer this time,
I,
bro.
I am. See, I had to stop Jordan, the
Oh,
downstairs vacuum, because I heard her coming close to the door, so I didn't want there to be any issue
right, right, right,
with
right. I got you. I
that.
got
Oh, it's crazy.
you.
Google. All right, so these are the kinds of things that never. Oh, hold on. Before we move on, I got to put that up there. That's from the boss right there. Look at that.
Well,
There
she
you
may haven't.
there you
It's
go.
fine.
Shouts out. Shouts out to Miss Chambers there. Hit the spot
Oh, she
1006.
didn't use no, 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 no. We're
Uh-oh.
not promoting that. She promoted her government today, so that's what we're rolling with. So not to hit the you know what.
All right, I'm gonna leave that
Pay for.
alone.
I'm gonna pay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pay
you gonna
for
pay
it.
for it, not me. So I'm trying to stay very neutral and stay out of that. But the clock's running
Like she
on me.
said, dating and finding the mate should be organic, and
Yes,
that's the way it is. That's the way it is.
that's true.
That's the way it is.
Ti is.
It is.
Speaking of government name. Speaking of government
Man,
name.
come on, man. Next topic, man. I'm not doing this. Come on, reset the timer, man, because she doing too much. Man, why would you even put that up there, man?
Well, because I don't want to get in trouble with her. I would much rather get in trouble with you. That is why I've been married for 20 years.
Man,
Yes. Folks, you know I'm all about enterprise technology. That's what I do, and I'm all about like I even stated earlier about about the application that Tinder is doing. I'm all about paying for things that provide value, and I think this is a good thing right here. Google cutting App Store fees for developers. I think they're doing this because Apple has already done it, right? So you figure any application developer that has an app in the App Store who's making less than $1 million today, they are actually going to get charged 15% as opposed to the typical 30% from Google for their application. Because right now, by default, every application within the Google App Store gets charged 30%, and I think that same number is for Apple as well. But I think in an effort,
go ahead, finish the story.
Yeah, go ahead. But see, but in an effort to understand kind of the challenges of COVID, the challenges of lockdown, and not being able to really collaborate like a lot of these organizations have, and really I think pressure from what developers are getting from Apple, Google has now decided to kind of follow suit, do the same thing, cut their retention fees and their host. I'm gonna call them their hosting fees, right, for developers. If you only make say you're only making $1 million, but if you're making $1 million or less, you're only going to charge you 15%. After you pass that $1 million mark, they figure you're balling. Then they figure you could afford it. Then you take you back up to the 30%. At the end of the day, this is a good thing, I think, again, for the smaller organizations who are just creating applications that provide value to society to not feel that so much of their revenue is getting pushed off to the hoster and the platform where they have their thing. So you think about this. A lot of the gaming companies pull their apps off of the Google and the Apple app stores because of these exorbitant amounts of fees that Google and Apple were charging. So that, I think, really started this trend and started this conversation with Google and Apple of saying, look, let's focus on the content creators. Let's focus on the developers. Focus on the companies that are actually making us, Apple and Google, all this money, and cut them a break, literally, in terms of we're the only two services out there. There aren't any more app stores anymore. So Google's always going to get their money. Apple's always going to get their money. I think this, again, is done in good faith. I think, again, this is going to also keep more money in the pockets of those development companies, allow them to hire, allow them to retain and promote, especially during these very shaky times in industry where some folks are having to lay off folks, and some companies are having to cut staff resources and develop a roadmap. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but tell me what you think. That's where I'm coming from, right, in terms of what this is all about.
Well, we talked about this back in November when they originally did
Yep.
this with Apple,
Yep.
and um, I think that in good faith, it's right or only right they follow suit. I mean, not trying to be funny. I mean, I don't know if this. I mean, Clubhouse doesn't make any money because they're not charging you for to download their app. But say like the NDI app, it's $20. Can you just imagine everybody that does live streaming and that works with NDI, bringing other tablets or smartphones? That $20 adds up to a million
Mm-hmm.
very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody that downloads a game for $1.99 and they don't have the buzz such as, a Fortnite, I mean, but you're charging them 30%. I remember back in 2013, 2012, I had an app. And even though I had an app, I couldn't afford those monthly fees because I didn't have people or I didn't have advertisers that were out there rocking or downloading my app. And it was like every month, this was just a cost that I was paying every month. After a while, it just got taxing, and it was like, okay, something's got to go. And unfortunately, just said, as cool as it was to have a tall boy app in the Play Store, it just didn't make sense for us to have it when we weren't able to get the downloads that we were anticipating. So I only say I think it's a good thing. I remember that we had a big issue back in October, November when some of the companies were saying Apple is charging us 30%
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to let you know. And Apple did not like that. And they basically told them that they hit a cease and desist with with their download.
Yeah.
Remember, Fortnite pulled out of the
That's what it was.
Apple
Yeah, it was
and
Fortnite. That's what I was
and
trying to remember. Yeah.
Apple and I mean Fortnite pulled out of the Google Play Store and the App Store or what is your store called for Apple?
Yeah. App Store. Just the App Store.
Yeah, they pulled out of the App Store because it was like, hey, they're charging us too much money.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it shut down on Apple, but you could side load it on Google by, just doing an open source, and it
Yeah.
was what it was. But I mean, they make it really difficult to be able to play the game if you did not already have it downloaded and you wanted to download it in 2021. There was no way to make that happen. So to hear that Google is doing this, I mean, it only makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, look at all the developers that we found in COVID and look at what they've been able to do to make the world better. But I mean, you're telling me off rip, I have to pay a 30. You get 30% of my cut this
Day
big
one.
because I can post it. So I can post it on your platform.
Yep.
No different from what Facebook is doing to a lot of these companies that that they're partnering with. They get a bigger portion of the cut. No different from what Amazon is doing with Audible or anything like that. The bigger
Yeah.
company
Okay.
has
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It is what I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, big bank take little bank, And so we're gonna give you a cut. We will let you get some of it, but we need that 30%. So for them to say, hey, if you're just now starting out, I think that this is good. Yeah, I think that this makes sense.
That's true.
So
That's true. That's a really good point. But I think so. At the end of the day, this is good for the consumer. Yeah, it's going to be good for the business as well because again, they're getting to maintain and retain 15% more of that revenue in their pocket until they reach that $1 million mark. But I think it's good for the consumer because this may be that catalyst that a lot of developers need to say, okay, now I will legitimately develop an application as opposed to having it only on the crack store, right? And, Cydia and having to have it side loaded or those kinds of things, so they can reach more of the mass by now knowing that they can get on these major
it's safe.
platforms.
So you put it on the Google Play Store, you put it in the App Store, and people think it's automatically safe. If you go side load it somewhere else,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
then it's like, well, is this really safe?
yep.
Are you going to update it? Is my phone going to get infected with some type of spam or some
Hmm.
type of security issues? Knowing that it's in the Google Play Store and the App Store, you know that it's been vetted. Unfortunately, when you sideload it, that's just the risk that you take.
Bro, you don't know
And I
what you're
mean,
gonna get.
I take my chances on some. I just haven't. I've been blessed not to have any problems. But I mean, I've heard stories where you take that chance and you're screwed,
I have
and you
bricked my
literally are resetting your
phone.
phone.
Yeah, look, I have bricked my phone many a days trying to load unauthorized applications, trying to test and trying to be early adopter. And look, it's not a good look at all. It's not a good look.
Yeah, it's safety at the end of the day. But I get it. It's one of those things where you just have to feel comfortable. Their marketing has to be well,
Mm.
for you to feel comfortable. And like I said, once you get it into the App Store or the Google Play Store, you you just automatically feel safe.
Yep.
Even if the app doesn't work, you dog them out in the comments where it says give us a review, but you know that it's still safe. I mean, how many apps have you downloaded? Do you really read the reviews?
Not
No,
really. Yeah,
not
that's true.
until it doesn't work, and then you're reading the reviews
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, well, everybody and their mama saying this thing don't work."
The only place I
But
read reviews is on Amazon, right?
right,
That's the
right,
only place
right.
that. And but you're right, right? I'll download an app and I'll pay the 99 cent or $1.99 or whatever. But if I hear everyone's using it, oh yeah, I'm gonna try it out too, and then find out that it's garbage. Be like, man, I wish somebody had told me that this was terrible,
And it was sitting right there in your face. Yeah.
terrible. I don't know
But
what's
what's up, Terrace? Hopefully you're still watching, man. Terrace is a good friend of mine. He's one of the original Crown Big Boys from
oh,
Atlanta.
I heard that.
But he's a big time techie. He's an engineer, and when I tell you this, he's somebody we definitely need to get on the show if he's still watching. I'll try and see if we can find a way to get him to talk tech with us.
Right. If you want to come on the show right now, we can do that. We can go ahead and break from the norms, and I can add a third person. Send him that same link that you got. But before we do that, before we move on to the next one, Damien came through late to the background check topic. I think it's important to have that going on, especially since dining out isn't an option anymore. Very true. Most dates are likely to have been directly at people's homes since the pandemic began. I completely agree with you, man. Right? That's a good point right there. Right? There is no let's meet at the coffee shop or let's meet at the bar down the street and have a couple of drinks. It's come to the back stoop or come to the front door and let's kick it and have a little grapefruit vodka. This is all right here. Yeah. Huh?
I
This is
get
my
it. I
St.
mean,
Patrick's Day drink, man. I know it's not green, and I know I'm not wearing green, but this is my St. Patrick's Day drink.
man, where is Isaiah at?
At work, he's making that money, guy. Both the kids at work. Chipotle,
They-
hey, invest in Chipotle. I'm a stockholder, stock investor. Get them dividends, brother. Chipotle. They just came out with quesadillas. I'm a sofritas man myself. I'm a sofritas with the hot sauce and the extra guacamole. But so again, I digest. So I'm sorry. You don't know what you're gonna get with me, brother. Look, this show was tech. We could talk about.
I don't even know why you're talking about that, but that's fine. I'll let you have your brand. Um,
Enlighten, entertain, and educate. That's what we do. I just made some shirts that say that as well too. I don't know if you saw them out there on my store. Enlighten, entertain, and educate. I'm sorry. You don't know what to do you? You don't know what to do with yourself. I got you. It's okay. Let's go.
Clock. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to start? Okay, because I'm the Apple guy. I'm the Apple dude. So Apple's having a lot of things come up, folks. We got some things going on. All of us in the Apple world are somewhat excited. I'm excited because I'm trying to find the date. When is the date? The 20. Yeah, Tuesday the 23rd, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Apple will have their event, and it's a event that they have every year. We don't know what they're going to talk about, but again, they send out the invites to press and to media and saying be ready. The invite says we haven't even started yet. So who knows? So now the rumor mills start fluctuating, and everyone thinks, okay, is it a new iPad replacement? Is it a new desktop, or it's a new laptop? Maybe it's a different type of phone. Who knows? But over the course of the last few days, there's been a lot of conversation and a lot of movement. You'll see actually in this next story. So I'll kind of blend both stories. One is this one. Apple TV is finally available on Chromecast with Google TV. That seems pretty strange, right? So now Apple and Google are getting together and allowing kind of a cross pollination of the service. Apple and Facebook are having problems right now. So Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg, they're fighting. So Tim Cook and Google are starting to play nice together. I think this is a great thing, right? Because a lot of folks have iPhones. A lot of folks have Apple TVs because it's actually a decent device for the living room and for the digital home. I've got a couple of them, and being able to aggregate all of my digital services, my Netflix, my Hulu, my cable, my HBO Max, and all that into one device, stream it at 4K. That's pretty darn cool, right? And now having that I've got it on this Roku TV as well. Apple TV is already on Roku TVs. Now it's on Google TVs. That just opens up the availability of the platform to the shows, to the offerings that Apple is providing. So that's just a lot of money for them. But the fact that it's on a Google box I think is the most telling thing, irregardless of the fact that they're opening up the platform, like I said, to Roku and to maybe some other ones. But just the fact that you're seeing a collaboration between these two giants who are obviously on two different ends of the spectrum. This is very cool in terms of how the digital living room and the digital home is going to shape out. Because when these two companies start playing nice together, again, the consumer can only benefit. The consumer can only reap the rewards. Will we ever probably see prices decrease for subscription services? I don't think that. But I think what we're going to do, we're going to see more of an adoption in terms of these capabilities. Apple's going to get a lot of money, of course, because I think folks are going to start utilizing that service and subscribing to Apple TV, getting that $9.99 a month or whatever the case may be, for depending on the subscription that you sign up for. But this is a good thing for consumers as well, because we're spending all this time at home now, and we're streaming content. It just makes sense that these companies work together.
So I guess Chromecast, you take this with your Android TV. Now you take Apple TV. Am I correct? I'm making sure I get this correct, because I don't know anything about Apple TV, how it works.
That's okay. So that's a good question, right? So Apple TV comes in two flavors, right? There's actually a box. There's a 1080p box, and then there's actually a 4K enabled box as well. That kind of it's a desktop receiver that sits right, and then you plug it directly into your television. But the Apple TV service, you don't need the box, and there's actually the application in smart TVs that allows you to stream darn near everything else that's on the platform. So again, you can connect into your HBO Max. You can connect into the Apple TV originals, which are incredibly high quality. I was actually surprised when they started creating their own originals on Apple TV. So on the Roku and on the Google TV side, you have the app within the smart TV environment that allows you to access the library of Apple TV shows.
So the good thing is, I take it there's no fee for this to work or anything like that.
No, there's a fee, brother. Yeah, you gotta, and so that's kind of what I was saying. You gotta have that subscription. You gotta have that subscription to Apple. Everything Apple does, you gotta pay for it. Everything Apple does. So you gotta have that subscription, and I think it's $9.99. You know what? Hold on. Let's find out, because that's a good question.
While he's doing that, it says that Google has announced that Apple TV will be available globally. So they want you to fire up your Chromecast with Google TV and search for the streaming service. So I guess, like you said, do you know what type of originals that they have?
Yeah. So here we go, right here. So $4.99 a month is the price for Apple TV. Apple originals are like the ones here. I've watched a handful of these. Palmer is actually good. That's a Apple original with what's his name, Justin Timberlake. That's actually a pretty good one. Um, Let me see here. What else? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, Defending Jacob. So that's a great show. The Morning Show. That was the one I was trying to think of. The Morning Show with Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, and the guy from The Office. The guy to play the boss from The Office. So those are Apple originals, and they're serious dramas, right? And they're serious. Some are serious dramas, some are serious comedy as well. Really high quality products. They're Apple originals, and those are what you have access to for the $4.99 a month service. Truth be told, oh my goodness, this right here too was an amazing show with Octavia Spencer, Apple TV original. This is where.
Goes to, but do you think with situation that happened with Monique,
Mm.
um, do you think a lot of actors and actresses said, you know what, let's see what else is out there? Or do you think their agents pitched them to Apple TV, to Tubi, to Peacock, to Amazon Prime? I mean, look at, I think they said 200 million for Coming to America to
Yeah.
be exclusive to Amazon Prime. I mean, as opposed to it going to Netflix. I mean, do you think that that's something that because of what happened with Monique, um, this is this is the perfect timing. COVID has hit, and a lot of these streaming platforms are now saying, "Hey, we have a competitor here."
Yeah, I wonder if they're mutually exclusive though, right? I mean, the whole situation with Monique was shady, right? She didn't get her paper like she should have. She's a quality, uh,
5 star.
um, a quality performer. I'm trying to find the word, right? She's high end, right? She's out there. She's in them streets. She's in everybody knows who Monique. Really, they do. Everyone knows who Monique is, from cable to primetime TV. And the fact that Netflix wouldn't give her money, but they would give the Bill Bars of the world. They would give the Jerry Seinfelds of the world. They would give all these other folks them nice 7-figure checks for a special. That's disrespectful. So I understand her thing. So I think it's separate. I really think it's separate. So long answer short, I'm gonna say no. Right. I don't think folks are really moving towards Apple TV because of the money thing, or because of a similar situation that Monique had. I think they're moving towards Apple TV just because it's one of many that's out there, and they're trying to get more eyes on their product. So it's just like us, multi-streaming, right? We're streaming to right now to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, all these platforms at one time. We're trying to meet our audience where they are. So I think that's
But
the.
but if you say that and look at the comments, and I think there was a comment that Tammy made that makes sense. But if you say that Apple TV is that Octavia Spencer drama that you just put up or you just showed us is only exclusive to Apple TV. You get what I'm saying? So it's not like she's trying to say, "Hey, I'm on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV." So that kind of like Tammy just said, Corona made actors and actresses expand their horizons.
Yeah.
Remember, people were laughing me out of the room 3 years ago about live streaming, but now everybody and their mama is over here doing live streaming. And it's like this is the new normal. So now it's who has now that COVID has hit and said I can't get my body of work out. How can I get my messaging out? The ones who were already doing this, the learning curve isn't that hard. But look at you and I, we're streaming or multi-streaming out, shall we say,
Yeah.
to different platforms, just saying, hey, maybe we might get a hit or a bite on Twitch, might get a bite on Periscope, we might get a
Mhm.
bite on Facebook, maybe YouTube. Even though I want to say YouTube is my thing, maybe Facebook might be really where the platform is. So who knows? But I'm just saying now that these actors and actresses have been sitting home for a year, their agents had to find a way for them to eat and find a way for themselves to eat, for the artists to eat and for them to eat. So maybe they have said, well, let's find a
Yeah.
way to make it to where, you know what, we're going to mask up and we're going to go over here to Apple and we're going to create this content over here and we're going to sell it exclusive as opposed to putting it into the movie theaters.
You make it really plain, right? I mean, it's really the primal rationale, right? We got to eat, right? No one. There are no movie theaters open. AMC is not open. Regal is not open. How can I? I'm still a creative person. Uh, Chris Tucker, God Lord, why can't I think of his name right now? The other Chris Rock. I mean, right? Because he did a handful of specials as well. I still got a creative mind. I'm still trying to create something. I need an outlet or a venue for this. Netflix isn't the only game in town. Apple's got a huge amount of liquidity. They've got a lot of cash. Not just not just credit line. Apple's got a lot of cash in the bank right now, so they're reaching out again to Octavia Spencer, to
But look
Justin
at
Timberlake.
Tubi, look at Peacock. I mean, look at the one that we
Yeah,
laughed out of the room. I mean, they have what was the one that put in all that money and they
Quibi.
went bankrupt? Quibi.
Yeah,
I mean, even though they folded and even though they folded, it was like if they would have I think they jumped out in the game too quick, and did not have the right people on their team or had the people willing to listen, shall we say. But
yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there as a sidebar question to what you're talking about with Apple TV and Chromecast, shall we say.
hmm Yeah, I think it's at the end of the day, I think it's a great marketing decision for both companies, right, to work together. And I think right now it makes sense because again, Apple is quibbling and fighting with Facebook about other things, right, antitrust and privacy, things like that. And I would love, as a consumer, I would love to honestly see Microsoft, Google, and Apple work together. I don't know what Microsoft can bring to the table because they've dropped their whole gaming platform. They dropped their phones that they were doing. All they got right now is Windows 10 and Surface Pros. Okay, but again, they've got 99.8% of the world on their platform. On a Windows platform. So I would love to see those three companies do something that focuses on the consumer, charge a reasonable price, nothing that's overly restrictive. I love the fact that Tammy says, "Look, I can't afford any more subscriptions." But again, if it's something of value, maybe we can consolidate some of these
Something's gotta go.
subscriptions into
Something's
something that
gotta
makes
go.
sense. Um,
I mean, honestly, something's gotta go. I mean, I get it.
yeah,
A monthly subscription, you try to say, "Hey, this is what it's valued," but look at the article, and we don't have that story up. But we talk like I sent you an article last week after our show where it was saying Netflix is about to stop the password sharing. Um,
yeah,
and it's like at some point, like I said, how many subscriptions is enough? I mean, we've already talked about 10 or 12, and if you got 50, the password manager, which was the top story, 10 or 12 are just on streaming services. That's 5 or 10 right there. I mean, you only got 40 left for Dropbox. So, I mean, the subscriptions just have to go. I mean, but financially, subscription packages are here to stay. I'm starting to see some of my favorite YouTubers offer subscription services. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that may be something that we may end up, eventually taking that model on and saying, "Hey, would you be willing to pay 5.99 a month just to watch our content?"
yeah.
Right now we're building our name to create this content, but after a while it will pick up. Do you say, "Hey, this it's a subscription?" But yeah, like you said, stopping, Netflix is stopping, users from borrowing passwords from someone's outside of their household. So I think I was reading with Verizon Fios, um, someone gave me their password, and when they gave me their password, it was you need to be in the home of this location with your phone within the next 30 days for you to continue to use this service, if that makes sense. So I mean,
That's
you
gonna be
gotta
that's gonna be a trip, right? I mean, once this really starts baking in, and folks, when you really start affecting folks at home, not being able to access their content, there's going to be an uprising for sure. I understand what Netflix is doing. I know we're going on a tangent. We had a couple of other stories, but this is time. This is relevant as well. But there's going to be a problem that Netflix has to deal with. Netflix has gone sideways a couple of times in their history, right? They when they did the DVDs that they were doing for a while, right? And the subscription with digital plus DVD. I mean, the whole pricing scheme and things like that. So they've actually had to retract some of their forward-thinking processes a handful of times. I understand what the company is doing about this, right? I truly do, right? From a business perspective, man, the guy is sitting around, Huffman is sitting around saying, I can't have people sharing passwords, but man, that's just how it is, right? Again, I'm trying to look. Both my parents are online right now. I'm trying to get them my password so they can see the funeral of the Bernards. I'm trying to because I want them to see that show because it's so funny. But I understand what they're trying to do from a business perspective, but from the consumer perspective, there's going to be such an uprising and such an uproar that I think Netflix will actually bend and flex and try to come up with a solution to try to appease the folks that are doing this. Because I know a lot of folks are. Again, like I say, I'll put it out there. I'm trying to do it as well. So,
Well, go ahead.
no, I was going to say. I mean. When you start touching with the wallet too, right? And Tammy says, yeah, $18 a month. Yeah, I'm paying $17.99 a month for multiple streams at 4K and all that. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, I'm paying a good decent amount of money for Netflix. A lot of the content is not something I'm watching. So why am I paying that? And again, we can go on this tangent, and I can get on this soapbox because we've talked about this for a long time as well. And I think you alluded to it, right? Too many subscriptions out there, and how many can I be paying for? But yeah, $18. Look, I tell you what, let them raise the prices one more again. Let them raise the price one more again, right?
No, it's going to happen. I mean, I remember when I was playing professional sports overseas, and like you said, you mentioned or you alluded to the DVD model plus the subscription. And, Blockbuster went out of went out of business because they did not want to partner with Netflix.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they laughed Netflix out of the room. And now Netflix is now the new Blockbuster, shall we say.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, they're making some decisions that are making people think twice or making people search elsewhere. Apple TV is a new player in the game. Tubi is a new player in the game. You got CBS, ABC, NBC, ESPN, TNT. They're all saying, "Hey, we're getting into the digital game as well." So they have a more stronger name and brand for themselves. So it used to be, well, we're going to share this content on cable networks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's like, well, we don't want your cable network because we know people are canceling subscription, so you can just pay us $4.99 a month. And by the time you start adding up, ESPN, TNT, Lifetime, BET, or any the Wii channel, by the time you get through adding all of that up, and like I said, I know we kind of strayed away from what we were originally talking about. It's like, yeah, you can Chromecast this or Apple TV this right to your TV screen. You log into your account and you pay that money. But like I said, Netflix was they're the new king on top of the hill. But if they keep making the decisions like they did with Monique, raising the prices, cutting down or stopping the password, shall we say, the password sharing, somebody's going to come in and instead of them working, they're forgetting that business model that they were just trying to put themselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
Going to kill themselves.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a challenging time, all right, for these companies that are offering these platforms and these services. I'm not in those rooms making those decisions. I would probably make the wrong decision from a business perspective because I would find a way to open it up to as many folks as possible. But what's interesting, so I'm gonna put this comment up here. Shouts out to my man Steve Worthy too. Even Apple Podcasts is dropping the subscribers button and going to follow like Spotify. Though thoughts are they will allow podcasts to go behind a paywall. So again, finding a way to change the whole dynamic, changing the way that content creators provide their information to the consumer. Every ITN news, every show that I produce goes out on, from a distribution perspective as a podcast as well. They're all monetized. They're all monetized, right? Look, that so. Yeah, we do this for the love of doing it, for the passion of doing it. But he's right? Instead of saying subscribers, right? I mean, that's a mentality thing. That's almost like charging $9.99 for something as opposed to charging $10 for something. Just that mental trigger of again saying $9.99, $9.95 as opposed to $10 and saying followers instead of subscribers. That could be the thing that will get folks to click that button and say, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna follow this show because they come correct, they say what I want to say, they resonate with me. So no, none of these companies are perfect. I think they are evolving as society is evolving. I'm confident that us as the consumers are helping to drive some of this momentum change. So to Steve's point, I think that's where that's going, but Netflix is going to have an issue again with folks as it relates to these passwords and sharing of content information with friends and family. They're going to have to come up with another tier. They are. They're just going to have to figure out something to say, you know what, Tallboy, you have 4 other people that you can share your password with that are within your circle, within your sphere of influence, or something, and you pay only $1.99 more for that. And if you want to add 5 plus people, then you pay $2.99. They got to come up with something. They just can't put a blanket statement out there saying, you know what, no more password sharing, nothing. All right, yeah, man, come on, man, you know better than that. I know how to hack into. Well, hold on, I won't go that route, but you know we gonna find a way. Yeah, we know how to steal. Let's see, there we go. I've run coax cable from one house to the other before, so we can make things work if we need to.
So we're gonna switch to the next topic because I don't want you to get
for real, man. I can't look, but I'm corporate, but I can't be saying things sometimes. You got to keep. That's why we don't stream this on LinkedIn because
somebody's gonna be in trouble.
I'm gonna get a call in the morning, Mr. Hicks.
Let me ask you, and I don't know anything about HomePods, HomePod minis. Is that the similar to Amazon Alexa?
Hold on, let me hear that you didn't set her off. Okay, because she back here behind me too. You're over here talking about Alexa. No, yeah. So the HomePod is very very similar to that. It's the smart speaker from Apple. It's all right. You know, so this whole story, Apple discontinues the original HomePod and will focus on the HomePod Mini. I agree with the story. I agree with the premise, but I am upset with myself because I dropped the cash and I got the big HomePod in my house. The problem is Siri is not that smart. The Google Assistant is the end all, the be all. The Alexa Assistant is right behind it, and then I think Siri and Cortana are tied for last. To be honest with you, and again, you know me, I'm an Apple guy. I can't ask Siri much of anything except for what day it is, what time it is. Can you play this on Apple Music, as opposed to some of the other functionality. I think the problem that Apple has found is that no one wants to pay that exorbitant amount of cash for a smart speaker that will only play Apple Music, that will only play, I think, Pandora. They would only play. What was missing was Spotify. I'll put it that way, right? More people have a Spotify account than have an Apple Music account because you can have a Spotify account for free. We'll deal with the ads on Spotify, but you get great music and you get great curation from the Spotify platform. So I think that's one of the main reasons why Apple has said, you know what, we can't do the HomePod. We're going to go with the HomePod Mini, which instead of how much was the big one? I think it was $349. Dude, I really did. I dropped $300. and $49 for the speaker. Yeah, it sounds great. It does. It's in the living room. You know, when we're cooking, Jen's got the, you know, we're in the kitchen, we're cooking. It sounds good. She says, Siri, play some music. My Sirius XM fires on, and but if you ask Siri about how many cups in a gallon or what, I don't know, right? She don't know much. I gotta go ask. I gotta go ask Google all these questions. So that was a huge thing, and they never really did as much rapid development as I think again Amazon and Google did with their smart assistant. So Apple is now focusing their efforts from a smart speaker from a home site on the HomePod Mini, which is $99, right in the line with the Echo Dot, the small Google Nest, or whatever the case may be as well. That makes sense. Folks can digest that. So it's unfortunate for us again who dropped close to $400 on this little mini tower that now just really plays a couple of songs once in a while. I don't know. Obviously, you don't have one of these because you're not an Apple guy. But do you
No,
have
I
any?
just have
Do you have any of the smart speakers? Let me ask you
no.
that.
I refuse to put any of that in my home because I know it listens to everything,
Mm-hmm,
and I don't want anything being recorded in my house outside of whatever's on my phone with,
mm-hmm.
okay, GOOGLE, because I don't want it to go off on my while this streaming. Um, but I have a sound bar here in my house, and I literally just plug it to, the PlayStation, plug it to the TV, the projector, or whatever, and then I have that sound bar. So I'm still old school with the sound bar. I mean, my brother has the sound bar that is Bluetooth, whereas I got mine where you plug it in and you got to hook up your red and white aux cable. Um, for Christmas, he went
He
out and
said
bought
aux
both.
cables.
Yeah,
That's old school, brother.
the red and white cables. Yeah, I went out. I'm still old school when it comes to that, but I just feel like everyone was saying okay, GOOGLE. Um, so it gives you the answers. Now, don't get me wrong, my phone is great for it, but do I need that in my house? Took it up to my sound bar. So I mean, every tech thing that comes out, I don't necessarily have to purchase. If that makes sense. Um, Even though it sounds cool and
Wait a
it
minute.
looks cool,
Say that. Hold on. Slow. Say that one more
I
time.
said every tech product that comes out, I do not need to purchase. I mean, I have to find
That's
it has to be
blasphemy
good.
right there, brother. That's blasphemy.
I mean, my house is already a circuit city. So, I mean, unfortunately, I don't need all of that. It's bad enough that, the person that's commenting on this stream a lot, she
Uh
wants
oh.
to throw a lot of my stuff away. And it's like, do I really need it? And it's like I still have a mini disc player sitting in my house.
Why do you
Well,
have a mini disc player still in your house? It's not
it's
coming
vintage.
back, brother. It's not coming back. It's not.
But have you looked on eBay to see what a mini disc player runs for?
Hold, please. Let me take a look.
So I'm just saying, like I mean, it's vintage, and I
True.
mean, it's one of those things. You're right. It never took off, and I thought it was going to be the next thing. Well, at that time, I dropped $400 on the mini disc player when it originally came out. I Even though I don't use it as much, some of those some of those discs have some original music back from my college days, and I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
But when the Alexa and what's the other one that just came out that you were talking about?
There's Cortana and the Google Assistant. So yeah,
Yeah, well, when those came out, it was like, these are the things.
had to see if she woke up.
Yeah, when those things came out, it was like, man, this is the cool thing to get. But it was like I just dropped. Circuit City was going out of business, and I ended up getting this sound bar, and it was like, man, this sound bar does exactly what I needed to do. Now, every year or every other year, a new assistant comes out, and it's like,
Mhm.
well, this one gives you much more speaker, or it gives you much more bass, or this plays a little bit more lot. Like at the end of the day, this can light up my whole floor where I stay at.
Mm.
So I mean, I'm good. So do I really need it? I can use my phone to say, what's the weather like, for tomorrow. I don't need that in my house, and I don't need it recording my everything that I say.
Yeah, no, that's a valid reason, right? And that's been a deterrent for a lot of folks going with these smart speakers. I've been able to shut off the listening for, well, I think I've been able to shut off the listening following Amazon's instructions and following Google's instructions to shut off the listening when I don't want it to listen. But do I know that that's actually happening? Am I 100% sure? No, I don't know. But you make a valid, relevant point that a lot of folks don't want those types of things in their homes. And what's crazy is I'm sure you folks remember the story a number of years ago when one of these smart speakers was actually used in court as a as a witness to a horrific crime that actually happened because it was recorded on, I believe it was an Alexa device. So it's the way that technology is going and it's the way that the smart home is going, but you have control over it. So don't be hesitant to go and acquire things that make your life convenient from your home, like smart lighting, smart doorbells, smart cameras, smart assistants, and things like that. But just know the ramifications of having that technology in the house. Know the fact that it's not 100% accurate and secure all the time. It's code. It's written by humans, so there's always issues in code. I can look at a line of code and see 5 different ways of writing the same lines of code, and there's always an open door. No one's code is 100% secure. There's always a loophole or an avenue of circumventing the system. So you got to keep that in mind as well. That's why you got patches. That's why Windows releases patches daily for their operating system, and that's same thing for Apple as well. So you got to keep that in mind. But it's a price versus cost thing. It's it's a give and take thing. If you want to have these types of capabilities and functions within your home and within your life, you got to be aware of the consequences and the ramifications, and kind of take some of the bad with the good, and just be vigilant. Don't assume all the time. So long story short, again, if you're going to have these devices that are in your home and they're listening to you all the time, know how to turn them off, know how to keep them updated, and just don't do bad stuff. Right? Don't do anything to where Alexa is listening to you and is using a court of law and be like, tall boy, the next witness that we're calling to the table is Alexa.
Right.
It's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a bad day, brother. It's going to be a bad. I can't come get you then, right? I can't come get you.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I said, is now me reading this article that I was reading basically is saying that it's so funny because they put it in bold in the article that I'm reading. It says if you have an original HomePod, it isn't going to just stop working anytime soon. Apple has flipped the switch on its storefront. And just because Apple isn't selling the original HomePod, that doesn't mean that your gear will spontaneously combust.
I really don't. I really didn't even want to do this story because again, I dropped $400 on this thing. But here you go. Just opening up the wounds. Opening up the wounds.
I mean, but they said you're still going to get service. I mean, nothing's not going to happen anytime soon. But I mean, like I said, this is one of those reasons why I'm mad at myself about the what is it, the Mavic Mini, the drone.
Yeah.
Had to have it when it first came out.
Okay.
Had to have the A10 Mini when it first came out. Just had to have it. Now, don't get me wrong; these are perfect, great devices. Love them.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. But then the following year, not even 2 years, the following year, they come out with the newer, the greater, 2 more
Yeah.
buttons that were added. I just found out how to live stream with my Mavic Mini, but it's a built-in feature on the Mavic Mini too. But I have to go do a workaround just to be able to do it.
Yes, you do.
With
I had them all. I had everyone. I had all the Phantoms and the Mavics too. So I know, brother.
So I mean,
hurts the
it's
wallet.
just one of those. Yeah, so it does hurt the wallet. So I mean, as we go into 2021, as as we're approaching the second quarter, these are things that you have to pay attention to. Yes, we're talking about HomePod. Yes, you spent a lot of money on it back then, and it's no longer being a feature. You
Mm.
have to think about these purchases and say, all right, well, can I wait? I mean, look at PS5. People are still trying to get a PS5 to this day. But you got to remember, PS5 is not going to drop a PS6 next year. It's going to
True.
drop it within 7 years.
Yeah.
These other companies are dropping year after year after year. That's the part that people aren't paying attention to. Took me a minute to realize it. Look at the phones. I mean, you're
Yeah.
about to have an Apple announcement next week,
Yes, sir.
and you have that Apple announcement next week. They're not even going to talk about phones. They're just only going to talk about the M1s. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
talk about, the HomePod minis. They're going to talk about the Apple TV. They're not going to talk about the cell phone side of it. And then they're going to tell you back in October, or they will tell you in October, hey, now it's time to look at the Apple 13 or the Apple 14
Yeah.
or
Next
whatever
one.
the number
Yeah.
is. And then it's like, well, I didn't get the last year's model, so I got to go get this one. And everyone's going to go head over heels over the next one because it is rollable or foldable or whatever the case may
That's what we
be,
do. Yeah.
and it's like, oh, this is the great Christmas gift, and it's right on time. It's just say, honey, mommy, daddy, this is what we want. So I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not beating you up for it because I'm just as guilty, but I'm also opening up my eyes and I'm starting to see what these companies are doing.
Right.
And like I said, PS5, when you come out with a PS5 model and say, or excuse me, take that back, not PS5, the PlayStation model, once every 7 years, I could see that. But when you come out with something every year, it's like, okay, well, I might as well just wait till next year, even though it sounds good. I might as well wait till next year. It, that, and then if you really wanted it that bad, then the people who had the first one are selling the first gen to go get the second one, so you can probably get the first gen at a discount, even though it's used.
I have a HomePod for sale if anybody wants it. Again, I pay $349. I will cut a family discount to anyone right now. We're starting at $200. It'll be on Mercari in about 2 hours. So hit your boy up. But so let me go back to a comment and kind of in alignment with what you said. So I believe what Hurricane Dave here said. Shouts out to you. I see you, man. I think the
Oh, that's
M1
false.
M1 Mac Pro is going to be announced because the ones that they released, the laptops that they released already, the 13-inch, that's terrible, right? You can't have a professional laptop at 13 inches, so 11 to 13 inches. So hopefully they're coming out with the 15, 16 inch or whatever the case may be with the M1 chip. I got the Mac Mini M1 right now. It's hot. Let me tell you something. This is definitely the route to go. And if they come out with a M1 MacBook Pro that's 16 inches, I'm replacing this 16-inch MacBook Pro that's on Intel right now and going with that one. So I'll have that for sale in a week and a half. So holla at your boy. Follow me on Facebook and on Mercari and on eBay because that's where it's going to be. But I completely agree with you on that. It's a great time, man. I'm trying not to spend all the kids' slight inheritance that hasn't been spent already, but and save some money for mama as well. But daddy likes his toys. Daddy works hard. Couple extra nickels coming in from doing shows with a great man like you, and we doing what we do, trying to get some of that YouTube money is happening. I'm gonna get whatever Apple announces next week. They know how to do the Pavlov's dog thing, right? They know how to trigger emotion, right? They know how to give a presentation, and they know how to say, not just you want this, but darn it, you need this. This is what's missing in your life right now. You may have the Apple Watch 5, which I got because I didn't upgrade to the 6. But you said, oh, but you know what? You're gonna need this next one. Why? Oh man, it's just gonna make you're gonna be so happy. You're gonna be fulfilled in life.
I wouldn't be surprised if they say you can on your watch, you can see what's in your refrigerator like the LG.
Bro, look, I tell you what, let him say something like that. Let him say something like that. Verizon gonna get a call that day. Talk about I'm ready to upgrade. But again, that's what they play on. Apple is masterful at that. That's an old Steve Jobs thing, right? And everyone else is trying to do that. And when is that? So that's the 23rd. When is our show after that? Our show is the next day. Oh my God, the next day. I'm gonna tell everybody what I've already bought that next day because I'm gonna be up like a crackhead that night. You know, with my little
But it doesn't release until the second quarter though, so it doesn't really matter.
Look, don't rain on the parade, but there's gonna be a lot of us fanatics, not just fans, Apple fans that are gonna be up listening to Tim Cook at 10 o'clock in the morning when he makes his announcement and, you know, refresh on apple.com/store trying to get whatever it is he like, whatever he mentions, because he's going to tell us that we need it and we're going to fall in line. I'm going to try to have some willpower and not buy everything that he announces, because you and I will talk offline, but the studio is coming together. I got some things coming this week. The studio is coming together, and I've already dropped a couple of dollars, but I saved a handful for Apple too. I need to be quiet.
Well, on that note, it's the lab.
Oh, you done? Okay. Well, folks.
I think you pretty much set it up for nothing else to be said until next week. I mean, it is what it is.
Folks, we appreciate you. We out. Thank you very much. Say it again, brother.
It's the lab.